Brandon Aiyuk could be on the move. A trade could be coming within the next couple of hours. The 49ers have given star receiver Brandon Aiyuk permission to seek a trade. The Steelers, Commanders, Patriots, the Browns have all showed interest. Which team would be the perfect fit for Brandon Aiyuk's services? For me, the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you think about their rich history of having an eye for finding good receivers, always being able to get the most from that position, Aiyuk would be a perfect fit in the black and gold. You traded away Deontay Johnson during the middle portion of this offseason, and you haven't been able to find a suitable replacement for him. You got George Pickens already on one side. Imagine if you put Aiyuk on the opposite side of him, and his skill set is a really good complementary piece to go alongside of George Pickens. George Pickens is a really good 50-50 deep ball contested catch guy. Meanwhile, you bring in Brandon Aiyuk. He is one of the most polished route runners in the league. He knows how to get open. He's pretty good after the catch as well. What he will bring to Pittsburgh is a better version of what you were getting out of Deontay Johnson minus the drops. You also get somebody who's better at run blocking, which helps out Pittsburgh because you know that they put a lot of emphasis on running the ball. The Steelers have a really questionable quarterback situation going into this year between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. You don't really know who's going to end up winning this job and who's going to be able to produce capable quarterback play to get the Steelers back to the postseason. But a way that you can help out whoever you put underneath center is by giving them more weapons to throw the football to. Imagine Justin Fields or Russell Wilson throwing to Aiyuk and then George Pickens. You still got Pratt Freiermuth there at tight end. The Steelers have already been interested in Brandon Aiyuk dating back to the NFL draft. As a matter of fact, it was reported that they were one of the few teams who reached out to try to acquire Aiyuk during the draft, but the 49ers said, nah. How much are the Steelers going to be willing to pay him, though, is the big question, because he wants to get paid somewhere around the ballpark of $30 million a year. The 49ers have been offering him between 26 and 28. If you're Mark Khan, you definitely don't have any problem giving him $30 million a year when you think about what he's going to bring to this offense and how better he will make the Steelers right now. The problem with Pittsburgh is that you don't trust their quarterback situation, but it's more easier for the Steelers to have good enough QB play where they could sneak into the postseason if you address the big concern that is wide receiver 2 right now. Brandon Aiyuk is more than a wide receiver 2. He's one of the few 15 wideouts that we have in the game who is a legitimate #1 outside receiver. Everybody thinks that receivers are really easy to replace and you can always find good ones, which there's some truth to that, but finding wide receivers that can consistently get open against press and tight man coverage is something that a lot of wideouts in today's NFL don't have the ability to do. Brandon Aiyuk has been the best wideout on the 49ers for the last 2 years. Some people think that it's Deebo Samuel, but Deebo doesn't get open the way Aiyuk does. You have to scheme Deebo Samuel open. You don't really have to scheme targets for a guy like Brandon Aiyuk that is so polished as a route runner. He's top 5 in the game when it comes to running routes and creating separation. Pittsburgh needs that kind of wideout on the opposite side of George Pickens. That is not George Pickens' game. As a matter of fact, that's probably his biggest weakness, is that every catch with Pickens turns into a 50-50 ball in a lot of situations. Roman Wilson is currently dealing with an injury. He was the wideout that the Steelers selected day 2 of this past year's draft. He's more of a slot guy. The Steelers don't have anybody on their roster right now that gives you true number one vibes. You got Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller. These are smaller, more shifty receivers that are more built for the slot. You do have Van Jefferson, but he hasn't been productive since his second year with the Los Angeles Rams. There is a big need at receiver right now for Pittsburgh, and getting Brandon Aiyuk would perfectly fill that hole. So even though I am a tad bit biased because I am a Steelers fan, this is a trade that Omar Khan needs to make happen. The Steelers are in the perfect situation to do so. You're not paying anything for your quarterbacks right now. You got a fairly young offense with your offensive line being pretty young. The rest of your defense, the majority of your best players are already locked up long term. If there was ever a perfect time for the Steelers to make a big splash move before the start of the season, trading for Brandon Aiyuk would be the perfect scenario for this Steelers offense. So I think that Brandon Aiyuk is going to end up being a Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of rumors have been circulating that the Steelers are really hot on his trail right now.